Many famous celebrities, life has not always been cameras and red carpets. Some of the most well-known stars have encountered obstacles as a result of their parents' poor decisions, despite the fact that they have succeeded in their careers. Although we have all been momentarily embarrassed by our parents, these celebrities have had to face something worse. While some celebrities have had to deal with selfish, greedy, and neglectful parents, others have had to deal with parents who are criminals, thieves, and drug users. Sadly, many in the latter group have also been forced to go through life without sharing a strong bond with the people who brought them into the world. Here are 10 celebrities whose parents are criminals. Number 10. Lindsay Lohan. Over the course of her career, actress Lindsay Lohan has made a number of bad choices. However, it seems that she may not have had the best example to follow. Lohan's father, Michael Lohan, has had several hassles with the law over the last 2.5 decades. Michael Lohan was sentenced to 3 years in jail in 1990 after being found guilty of criminal contempt of court. He was arrested again in 1997 for violating his probation, in 2004 for failing to pay for suites he had rented, and again in 2011 on suspicions of domestic violence. Number 9. Lily Allen. Singer-songwriter Lily Allen, the daughter of actor Keith Allen, was introduced to criminal activity at a very early age. Allen's father, Keith Allen, began committing crimes as a very young age, and at just 15, he was sent to a youth detention center for repeatedly stealing. Allen also has a history of illegal drug use and even used his children as a marketing ploy to sell drugs. Number 8. Demi Moore. Over the years, actress Demi Moore has had a very rocky relationship with her mother, Virginia Gines. Unfortunately, Gines has racked up a rap sheet almost as long as Moore's resume, and her list of arrests include drunk driving and arson. Number 7. Kellie Pickler. Kellie Pickler is a musician who garnered most of her fame from reality television, specifically American Idol and Dancing with the Stars. Her father, however, has become almost as famous as she is for all the wrong reasons. The story goes that he had long battled with alcohol problems, leading up to his arrest in 2003, when he was caught and sentenced to 3 years in prison for assault and battery in regards to a stabbing. Years later, Clyde left the state without reporting to his probation officer and was declared a fugitive by the state of Florida. Despite all this, Pickler has remained supportive of her father and declares that he is not a criminal, he just has some issues with the sauce. Number 6. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's family is a very well-known and prestigious family in the industry, but that doesn't mean they didn't have their share of legal problems. Drew had her own problems, many of which she attributes to her unconventional childhood. But Drew's issues are well documented. She was into drugs early and forced to grow up too fast. This might have had to do with her father, John Drew, who had many issues with the law. By the mid-50s, John Drew had served jail time for various drinking and driving infractions and even some domestic abuse. He was involved in a series of street brawls in the 60s and went to jail for possession of marijuana in 1964. All in all, he has a rather long rap sheet. Number 5. Jackie Chan. Action movie star Jackie Chan's parents have a love story almost as incredible as some of his most dangerous stunts. After 2 crazy lives separate from each other, Jackie's mother and father met in Shanghai. Li, Jackie's mother, was selling opium in order to survive when she was caught by a police officer. Not only did the officer let her go, he also gave her the opium back. This cop was Charles, the man who would become Jackie's father. He was also part of the street gang called the Shandong Gang. After this encounter, Li got into gambling and had a long string of wins, but when that turned south, she resorted to pawning everything she owned. Apparently Charles, who remained close with Li during this time, would get back all of these goods and return them to her. If he paid for these goods is up to our imagination. They later got married and had Jackie. Number 4. Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson's father, Charles Harrelson, is one of the most notorious hitmen in American history. Over the course of his life, Charles Harrelson was charged and convicted of several murders before dying in his cell in 2007. Most famously, Harrelson was convicted of the murder of John H. Wood Jr., the first United States federal judge to be killed in the 20th century. Rumors have also circulated that Harrelson may have been involved in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy Jr. Number 3. Tobey Maguire. Award-winning actor, Tobey Maguire is well known for his role as do-gooder superhero Spider-Man. And just like his on-screen persona, Maguire's real life has been affected by crime. Maguire's father, Vincent Maguire, was arrested back in 1993 for robbing a bank. Admittedly, the reports are sparse and pretty vague, so there's a chance that this is all a misunderstanding, but it has been picked up and regurgitated over the years as fact, and Maguire has never disputed it. Maguire's dad, Vincent, allegedly entered a bank in Reseda, California without a mask in broad daylight and robbed the institution, leaving with a bag of money. One of his neighbors reportedly called the police when he saw Vincent carry the satchel into his garage. For his crime, Vincent was jailed for 2 years. Number 2. Leighton Meester. Leighton Meester, best known for her role as Blair Waldorf on the popular series Gossip Girl, has had a very different upbringing than her on-screen character. Technically, Meester was born in a hospital and nursed in a halfway house for a few months, but after that, her mother, Constance, went right back to prison to serve out the rest of her drug trafficking sentence. Meester's mom was part of a huge drug ring that transported marijuana between the US and Jamaica. Once Meester got famous, she would defend her mother and say that her mama bear is living proof that you can't judge someone for their pasts. But that was before Meester sued her mother and her mother countersued her. Turns out, if Meester had just judged her mother based on her past, as she should have, she could have avoided that future headache. Number 1. Terrance Howard. Terrance Howard's father, Tyrone Howard, was involved in one of the most nationally publicized crimes to come out of Cleveland. In 1971, while waiting in line to see Santa, Tyrone Howard was involved in an altercation with another guest, which resulted in Howard being convicted of murder. The incident, which was dubbed the Santa line slaying, quickly made headlines around the country, with many believing the event was racially motivated. As a result, Howard was sentenced to serve a 1 to 25-year prison sentence. However, after just 11 months, he was paroled on good behavior. In the early 2000s, while promoting the film Crash, Terrance Howard, who was present at the time of the slaying, appeared on The Oprah Show and discussed his father's incident. Howard claimed that the altercation began after the victim, Jack Petro, made negative racial remarks. However, Tyrone Howard has maintained that race was not a factor.